You need these flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
Act now to get your flip-up tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
America's Voice Live, I'm Peter Dixon alongside Matt Locke, and we were anticipating doing rally coverage all day, but we have so many people on the ground that we want to find out what the atmosphere is like out there and exactly what the people are saying who are anticipating the president coming. So we want to go out to Ben Berkwam and Will Johnson right now. Ben, are you guys out there, and what's going on?
Hey, Tudor. We are here. We are bummed just like everybody else. We're looking forward to it. To me, Trump rallies are like a family reunion every time we do them. Yes. We get to come together with people from all over the country, most of whom we've never met, but we're kindred spirits. And so I know myself and I know Will feel probably the same way.
Oh, absolutely. We see repeating people every time when we go to the events, but you know what? All of the Americans that show up, we are family.
Yeah.
We're all part of the American family. We all have the American spirit, and we're here gathered with a whole bunch of people that feel the spirit that's a part of the American family.
Yep.
It's absolutely awesome.
Yep. No, that's right. So we just want to talk to some of them. We've got a family here, came up from Dayton, Ohio. Tell me your name again.
Martha Chatterton and Chloe Chatterton.
Chloe, I didn't know that's my daughter's name too. So, and this was going to be your first rally.
Yeah.
So just talk to us a little bit about how you're feeling right now, President Trump. You know.
We're sad that he can't be here, but we understand the circumstances. And she's a lot more happy now that she got her some Trump merchandise.
I saw that. So even right now, you know, there's still the Trump economy. All of these rallies, people come from all over the country. Chloe, so does that make up for it at all, or you're still ready to come back? You got to make your mom bring you back when he comes back in a week or two.
Yeah. What I was thinking is, I wish they didn't cancel it, but I understand why they did, but I'm very proud of what he's doing, and I hope he keeps on doing the good work.
And you're 10 years old.
Yep.
That's awesome. So awesome. And Chow we have over here as well. Yes. Chow, Vietnamese for Trump. There's a whole contingent of them out here. Tell me again, Chow, does this dampen your spirits at all? No pun intended with the weather coming.
No. President Trump's safety is very important to all Americans and the whole world. We are here every day waiting for him. Any day, doesn't matter the weather. We're here waiting. Thank you, President Trump. God bless you. Stay safe.
And then one more. We've got Bruce over here. We got the American flag, Bruce. Bruce, and you came from across the state, right?
Nashua, yep.
Nashua. Are you going to be back in a week or two?
Of course we will.
Does this affect you at all? This postponement?
No, I mean, it's a bummer. We were looking forward to it, but it's not canceled. It's postponed. You know, everybody that's out here will be back. It actually probably gives people more time to plan and more time to make arrangements, so maybe we'll have a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting to bring up that point, Will, because most of the time we don't find out about these things till a few days before. So now that we know that we'll be back here.
Yeah. We'll be back here, God's willing, and the American people most definitely will show up. Because you know what? No matter what happens, look at the way the country's going right now. People still have the American spirit. They're still going to hold on to it. They're still going to hold on to the support with President Trump, even though they see all of the negative stuff that's happened to President Trump. No president ever in the past has experienced as much brutal beatdown as President Trump when it comes to the media and when it comes to politics.
The fake news. That's why we're here, America's Voice News, bringing you the real news. And, you know, it's interesting, too, it was brought up in the last one. You know, everyone here would have still been here, rain or shine. They were going to come out, and I think you would have seen that no matter what, the event would have been packed. But I think President Trump is just, you know, out of abundance of precaution, making sure that nothing happens bad on the, you know, the eastern seaboard, New Jersey. We're seeing some flooding there already. I think they're just making, you know, a choice to not have to deal with the negative backlash that we would see from the liberal leftist hate America media.
Well, they're going to use this to their advantage anyways, right? For them, they feel that this is a win-win. No matter what, if they can prevent President Trump from having a rally, having a gathering of Americans that love this nation, it's a win for them. And that should be a wake-up call to everyone, that they're happy because American people can't go out and show their spirit and their love for this country.
Right. But rioters can.
But rioters can. That's different. That's different. And rioters, you can go out and tear up everything you want to because the left is pushing it, so that's okay. But loving the country, having respect for the country, having respect for President Trump, that is a negative to them.
And Tudor and Matt, stay tuned. Tomorrow we're going to be having some special coverage with Will and myself. I can't tell you where we're going to be yet, but to the audience, the America's Voice audience, stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
Well, Ben, thank you so much. On the ground out there in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And of course, you know, Tudor, it's kind of hard to fly a plane and the president through a tropical storm, Faye. And for more details on that, we've got our very own Heather Mullins on the ground out in Portsmouth. Heather, it looks a little windy where you're at.
Oh, yeah, it's a beautiful ocean breeze here. But, you know, I'm really happy to be back in New England because, as everyone knows, I'm from here in New Hampshire. And some of the talk actually about this rally has been with regards to the governor. Now, Governor Chris Sununu, he's actually a Republican and has decided that he's not going to attend Trump's rally had it gone tomorrow. And his reason for that is really out of concern for his parents, but it's really upset some of the Republicans here in the state. I know as a governor, he's been very pro-gun. So if you're going to be a single issue Republican, that is the one issue I can say he's done a fantastic job here in the state. He vetoes almost every gun bill that comes across his desk. And as you guys saw with my news package earlier in the pandemic, where we covered all of these surge in gun sales all across the stores here in New Hampshire, where they were, you know, people, because of the pandemic, were very, very concerned for their safety. It was something nobody experienced before. And so having a governor protect something as important as the Second Amendment, especially as we see rise to these violent protests. You know, they say they're peaceful, but we've seen the footage. People are literally getting attacked in the streets, you know, for supporting the president or for just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so having adequate self-defense is so important. So I'm hoping that here in New Hampshire, despite the governor not attending the president's rally, you know, he'll still win his reelection, because for me, the Second Amendment is so incredibly important.
Heather, the rally was supposed to be outdoors. Can you tell us, do you know, was there any type of covering set up at all, or was it just going to be completely exposed?
As far as I know, it was going to be totally out in the open. I mean, last time he was in New Hampshire, he had it at the SNU Arena, which for me seems to make more sense, because then you have the option to still hold the rally even when the weather's not so great. But as of right now, it's going to be completely out in the open.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for reporting there on the ground in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And Tudor, you know, look, the weather is what the weather is. Nobody can, you know, we can't tell God how to blow in a storm or not. But I would believe that safety purposes alone would dictate that the president not be able to fly in and do the rally. But we're going to head down to New Hampshire. We've got our no, we're not going to head down to New Hampshire, she says. So, you know, Tudor, I guess my question would be, safety comes first, right?
Absolutely. And, you know, this is an interesting situation because we're running into this really with the first rally. So we're seeing what happens when you have a weather event and a rally outside at the same time, because we were expecting, well, this may be a weekend thing now. You and I had already talked about the fact that maybe every Saturday we'll be covering rallies because it's summertime and it's nice and the president can be outside. I hadn't really considered the weather. I certainly wasn't considering a tropical storm or hurricane coming right now on the coast there, but that's what we're experiencing. So it'll be interesting to see if this changes how the campaign looks at outdoor rallies. We do have our folks at what was going to be rally headquarters. We have Dr. Gina and David Zier now. Dr. Gina, how's it going out there?
Let me call.
Great. We saw this very ominous, you know, because there was no sign of any weather. You know, we're hearing that the rally was, of course, canceled for weather. So we're sitting here in our headquarters in New Hampshire, and we look outside, and all of a sudden, this super ominous whiteout fog rolls in. I wish you could have seen it. Just like all of a sudden, there is zero visibility. So I don't know what that's all about. I'm not used. I live in hurricane world in Florida, and so I'm not used to this weather. But it was very interesting, wasn't it, David? Like, I've never seen anything quite like that.
Yeah, well, we get nor'easters up here. I'm from New York.
That's
so
right.
We're used to tropical storms. We don't get hit as hard as Florida sometimes with the hurricanes, but it's something that New Englanders prepare for, especially the lobster boats. You know, they know when to go in.
That's right. That's right. Well, anyway, here we are, and we're excited to be with you and doing this coverage, regardless, and lots to talk about because obviously the rally is going to happen. It's just not going to happen tomorrow because of this weather. So in a week or two, we understand. I spoke with Hogan Gidley this morning. I spoke with Mercedes Schlapp. It looks like in a week or two, this rally is going to happen. It's just a question of when. And some of the team is already in town. Yeah. Some of them had not made it into town and were planning on coming tomorrow. But the campaign is only going to intensify. That much we can be certain of. And there will be a lot happening on the ground. One of the things that the president has been very vocal about, which at first, I'm not going to lie, caught me a little bit off guard. I'm one of those that has said all the way along, David, that one of the good things that's happened, and this is how conservative I am, is that, you know, families have gotten back to some really important things, like having dinner together.
Yes.
Like, and I'm a germaphobe. I am not a mask wearer. I've made this really clear. I think that those masks, I think they can be dangerous. I've read a lot of studies about how, you know, and I'm not advocating you don't wear masks. I'm just saying I think there are questions that need to be asked. And, you know, when the president came out and talked about HCQ, everybody all up in arms. Oh, there's no data. We can't say that. The media went nuts. You know, you have no FDA approval on HCQ. No one can say that. But they didn't have that problem about masks. No one wanted to read the data about what happens when you are breathing in your own
right.
Why can't I get the word? Your own expelled oxygen, yes. Right, all day long. Like, is that okay or not? Because there are people that have had really big problems, especially asthmatics, and especially, you know, what happens when you breathe in CO2 all day long, and especially on like an extended airline trip, things like that. And so, so I think those are some questions that should be answered before towns mandate. Don't you?
I think the whole thing's crazy. You know, getting back to hydroxychloroquine and referring to the masks, I interview top doctors in the world all the time. Dr. David Samadi, head of oncology in the New York hospitals.
He's one of the people that I followed closely.
You know, and these guys, and Andrew Boston from Brown University, they think only the sick and the low immune should be wearing masks.
Well, it is crazy. You've got to admit that. Always in pandemics or even in just flu seasons, we've quarantined and we've covered the sick. We've not quarantined and covered the healthy like we have in this pandemic.
I think the lockdown is going to be responsible, according to Stanford University, 93 million years of lifetime for American citizens. A lot more people are going to die than died from the COVID. And I understand, you know, March and April were heavy, but we got to get back to business here. Our kids have to be back in school. They should be playing in the sandbox. They should be socializing. There's studies all over the world that say that these kids do not transmit to their parents and grandparents like they thought, and to elders. And if you're asymptomatic, you're not passing the virus along. It does happen, but you know, this strain of coronavirus that we're seeing around the country is a weaker strain. Deaths have gone up a little bit, but I bet you by next week and the week after they're going to go back down.
Deaths compared to cases have gone down. Way down.
Way down, way down.
Way down.
So
we want to be clear about that.
Well, we were at like 5 deaths per state as an average the other day, and now we're at like 17. But that's where it's been.
But the cases are far higher. The testing is far higher. So the deaths actually statistically
have 0.026%.
Have nosedived.
Yeah, it's very low.
And your chances of dying on your drive to work are much, much higher.
Well, we lose 1.8 million people a year. We lose 5,000 to 7,000 people per day, every day in this country, to strokes, to diabetes, heart disease. You know that 40...
Although those numbers are actually non-existent.
Right,
now,
nobody dies.
Because they're ruling them COVID.
They are, and I have proof of it. I've had the largest funeral home chain owner in New York called me and said that every death coming into his funeral home was being marked as COVID. And there's no doubt about it. And we lose, a lot of people every day. 40% of heart attack victims have not gotten treatment since March.
Well, I think
in
it's
the
really
United
important
States.
to note that my understanding is that there is a huge price tag on every patient in the hospital that's labeled COVID, especially if they're put on a respirator, excuse me. Then I believe there's something along the lines $38,000 to $40,000, I think, per patient put on a respirator.
Right.
So I have a good friend who went to the hospital because they thought that's what you did when you got COVID, and they wanted to immediately put him on a respirator. And he said no, and they tried to have him, he's 42 years old, they tried to have him declared mentally incompetent so that they could put him on a respirator. And he didn't understand why, and he's never had a mental problem in his life, and they're saying, well, you're hysterical, you're crazy, we're going to have you, declared mentally incompetent so we can put you on a respirator because you're crazy. He's like, I'm not crazy. Do something. I'm like, call a lawyer. Call a lawyer. That's all you can do.
So there's things that really bother me. The other day in Arizona, they said there were 117 deaths, but they didn't tell you in the media, in the mainstream media, that 57 of those deaths were from death certificates, which means they didn't die that day. And it's just very coincidental that the state Republicans in Texas were going to hold their convention next week, and all of a sudden the numbers are exploding in Houston. And even a CEO of a hospital system in Houston said that every person who checks into the hospital for elective surgeries, they're marking down as COVID. And only 10 to 40% of the cases in the U.S. hospitals right now are COVID. We didn't get elective surgeries for months, right? So people are going back in. So now the hospitals are crowded. Yes, there's a spike in cases. Yes, but I believe they're less dangerous. And I think by next week, this is going to calm down again. In Europe today, out of 350 million people in 6 of the biggest countries like the UK, Italy, France, Germany, and Spain, they only had about 75 deaths out of 350 million people.
Well, and let's remember that I believe it was Sweden that never shut down.
Yes.
And they never got the kind of numbers that we got.
No.
And they never shut down. So I think that's important to note. I was surprised. You brought up the school issue with the president, him wanting to reopen. I think it's because he wants businesses to reopen. I personally have loved the time that I've had with my children home.
Right.
I was a homeschool mom before. I liked having them back home. It reminded me. I like the idea that people can realize that, how necessary is it to send our kids, excuse me, but this is just my own thinking, and I never oppose our president. I understand his thought. He believes that we need to get people back to work and our economy going again, and I get it. And kids back to school is part of that equation. I get that. All respect. But my point is, I am not anxious to get our kids back into universities. I am not anxious to get our kids back into indoctrination units. I'm not, and I'm just going to be really honest about that.
So, and you're right, because they're going to go back to these colleges and get this like BLM or 1619 curriculum, which is corrupting our children. And I agree with you. I'm a big proponent of homeschooling. But I will say that my daughter homeschooling, virtual classes online, she told me that she's learning 40% less online than she did when she was in school. Now, she's going to be a junior. She wants to be an engineer. These kids aren't going to be ready.
And you make a great point. It is hard to do. Even going along with my son's curriculum, it's very different than a homeschool curriculum that's tailored for that.
Yeah.
We'll discuss more about this a little bit later. But we want to go to Ben outside. He's on the ground with some of the folks who are hoping to attend this rally. Ben, what do you see out there?
Hey, Gina. So it's wrapping up out here. We had some of the major locals out here, people that had come in and spent the night last night. They're just winding down. They were told they had to pack up their stuff earlier today, so they're packing up. We actually have Bruce, who's driving his truck over here. He's going to be coming out. He's heading out with the flags here in just a second. But everyone else out here they were bummed to hear the noise or the news, but they're excited to find out when he comes back out. But yeah, so this is one of my favorite shots over here. We got Bruce coming, and I love his horn, guys. Check out. 4 more years. That's what you hear there.
4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years.
They're still excited. They're still excited, Gina.
Oh, yeah, they're excited. Absolutely.
Yes. You know, one of the things that we were talking about, David, was a lot of the reason why some people are saying schools need to reopen is because of the lunches. Right. I say, I don't want to make more people dependent on free stuff. I don't think that's a good thing. I'm sorry. Am I the only conservative voice out there that doesn't see a problem with bringing kids back to school for free? Can we take care of this with charities and neighborhoods and churches again like we used to?
How about their parents?
Do we really need a federal program for that?
How about their parents making them lunch? You know, there's a lot of problems to address here, but I think there's issues for these children in their mental state. I think suicides are going to go up, opioid uses and deaths are up like 50% during this crisis. We have to get on with the business. And in the blue state,
business needs to open.
So you're in a red state.
You're going to get no argument from me on that.
You're in a state with a good governor. You know,
I'm in a red state.
Yes.
I will say that, with a governor who's done some things right. I will say that.
So I'm in New York.
But I am in a county that is completely shut down. It's Democrat run. So
yeah, no, I could imagine. I understand.
Yeah.
But in New York, we've had draconian lockdowns, and
you have.
know, so we have. You know, what I don't like is these private businessmen. You know, myself included, my friends who own delis and restaurants. They're out like $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $1 million. Nobody's ever going to give that money back to them.
No.
And they're using these extended lockdowns so people can riot, to shut down the economy, to make Trump look bad. We should have been open in New York for 2 months. We have 31,000 restaurants just in Manhattan and Long Island, and we're going to lose up to 85% of the independently owned restaurants that don't have chain or
They'll never open
backing.
again.
You know, they're destroying the lives of hundreds of thousands of families.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and you know, the Democrats will say it's just a business. You can't put businesses over lives.
They have no understanding.
These are lives.
Yeah.
These are lives. Like, they don't get that part. Someone's livelihood is their life. And that's why suicides are up, and the ramifications of this, and the fact that, you know, we haven't had cancer screenings, we haven't had heart screenings. I mean, all of these things are going to come home to roost. We are going to be reaping what we've sown during this shutdown for decades to
And what
come.
about the municipalities? They've been without sales tax revenue for 5 to 6 months. They're all going to come back to us in the fall and say, you got to raise your taxes.
Yeah, that they are.
Know, and it's a very, very serious situation, and it's criminal. It's criminal. So on Long Island and in New York, 1/3 of the workforce works for the government. Another third are home collecting unemployment with this extra $600 a week through July 31st.
Terrifying.
Right? The other third are small business owners and people who take the risk, the rugged individualists who went out in society, built a business for 40 years, and they're losing everything, and there's nobody speaking for them. There's no one championing them. I've never heard Governor Cuomo once in New York ever say, I love business people. You're the heart and soul of what makes Long Island and New York State and New York City great.
Their almighty leader, Obama, remember, he's the one who said you didn't build this.
Right. It's the same.
That's
it's the same
their
mindset.
attitude.
But like New York has $1.7 trillion GDP. Long Island has a larger economy than 150 countries in the world. We do $150 billion in trade. And these people are just forfeiting their life savings. The PPP is not enough. The TALF loans, the disaster loans, it's not enough. It's just a delay in their demise. So I'm very passionate about it because I watch my friends suffer, and I watch these people. And then if you're a one-parent household, you can't go back to work. And if you're a two-parent household, now they're saying in New York City only one of them can go back to work. The policies have been so hypocritical.
You know,
and I'm all for homeschooling, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't care if they go back or not, but these people have to work.
No, I agree with you. And how is it the government's right to tell parents only one of you can go back to work? How is it the government's right to tell parents any of this? To tell free people that they have to wear something on their face? If you're sick, you should definitely. If you want to wear a mask, you should by all means wear a mask. But for a town to mandate, or a county, as in the case of Palm Beach County where I live, they've mandated you cannot exist, I guess, unless.
So in New York City, New York State, every single gym is still closed, and all the dance schools and the malls. It's crazy. It's 6 months.
But the pot shops,
they're
it's
all open.
It's amazing what stays open. All right, now I told you about this crazy fog. It just rolled in out of absolutely a complete whiteout. We're going to take you outside right now to Heather Mullins, who is braving this fog that is ultimately, I guess, going to turn to the reason that the whole rally was canceled. Heather, show us.
So as you can see behind me, right well, what you can't see is all the houses, and there's actually a bridge behind me, but the fog is so dense that you can't see it. It's insane. It's almost like that movie, what was it, The Mist, I believe it was. Maybe this is one of those ploys from the Democrats like David was talking about earlier. And, here in New Hampshire, though, the weather is just one of the greatest things ever for me. Being back here and being in my home state of New Hampshire, I was really excited for this rally, and I'm a little disappointed we're going to have to wait a week. But you know what? I know for a fact people here in New Hampshire are going to pour out in numbers to support our president. And despite the last election having gone to Hillary, there is a lot of talk that some people have come over the border from Massachusetts, and that sort of swung that election. There was a lot of talk about fraud that election as well. So we're going to see what's going to happen this year, but I don't see Trump having any issue winning the state in November.
Wow, that is so exciting. And you're right, you are from here, so you sort of have your finger on the pulse. Heather, is this normal weather, this whiteout fog? What does this mean we're in for?
I mean, having just been in Florida and now I'm here, the humidity here is actually worse than it was in Florida. So that's a little surprising to me. I wouldn't say this is normal here, but, this is the coast. So you have a lot of the ocean water and the humidity levels rise, the evaporation. That's basically what's happening here. As far as whether or not it's safe for the president to travel in it, I think that's what people were concerned about, was flying Air Force One in safely. And, he is our president. We want to make sure he's safe. And so if we got to wait a week to hear him speak again, that's what we're going to do. But we'll all be here. So, yeah.
They're not going to give our hair a break, Heather. We're in Florida. We have the horrible hair weather. We come here and we just brought it with us, didn't we? You're gonna have to keep
there's
our
still a lot of
safe
people
for sure,
here,
so.
though. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, like they're going to wait the whole week or two to get the president to come on in. I'm glad they're keeping him safe for one, and so we'll just have to be patient and wait. But I think it's adorable that people are still out there braving the weather and waiting. David, the fandom for this president, and that's where these polls that we're hearing everything about, David, that we're hearing. Joe Biden, he can sit in his basement because the polls are all in his favor. Well, we saw the polls in 2016, David, and they were all for Hillary. So I don't believe the polls to begin with, but even if the polls are accurate, what about that enthusiasm gap? There's nothing like the kinds of crowds that will wait for.
Joe Biden couldn't fill a bingo hall 3 weeks ago when Trump had his rally in Tulsa. And, they're lying in the media about the numbers at the Tulsa rally. There were 12 to 14,000 people in that arena. Only the top tier wasn't filled. And, it was hard to get to Tulsa. So, anyway, Biden can't get anybody out, so there's no enthusiasm.
That's right. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with more coverage. Stay right where you are. More America's Voice News coming at you.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this.
Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, they wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up. A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
I'm Nick Bolton, and these days...
Hey there.
Hey there. It seems everybody has a pair of tactical sunglasses.
Good morning.
Morning. But what if you already wear glasses? Then you need these flip-up tack glasses. These new glasses fit right over your existing eyewear to give you all the benefits of our tack glasses while you comfortably wear your regular glasses. Plus, like all tack glasses, flip-up tack glasses feature Bell & Howell light filtering technology that makes invisible objects suddenly become visible. There's just nothing like them on the market today. Here you go, buddy.
Thanks, Nick.
Act now to get your flip-up tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship them to you free. But wait, order today and you can get a second pair. Just pay a separate fee. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-284-4127 or go to flipupglasses.com. That's 1-800-284-4127 or order online at flipupglasses.com.
Welcome back to America's Voice Live. I'm Tudor Dixon alongside Matt Locke, and we have a special guest with us today, and we want to talk about a very interesting topic with him. We have Tony Shaffer. He is the president of the London Center for Policy Research and a retired intelligence operative. Tony, welcome to the program.
Always great to join you guys. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we are excited because you recently wrote an article about Senator Tammy Duckworth and her decimation of national security for American greatness. We want to talk to you about that because you say that Tammy's pursuit of political gain actually gives her an unearned advantage, to the Russians, Chinese, and Iranian governments. That's a really scary statement. I want you to tell me a little bit about that, but we want to get back and forth into this whole situation because this is a woman who is in line to be the VP.
Right. I think that's one of the reasons that people need to be paying attention to what she says and how she says it. The idea of holding a whole group of national security professionals, military professionals, hostage over a political disagreement is completely insane. It is against everything we stand for as Americans. And simply put, anytime you slow down the actual mechanisms of defense, that is to say that we have agreed as Democrats and Republicans on certain things that should be left completely unpoliticized, institutions which do that hard work of protecting the American people. She's violated that, and my argument is, by her violating it, by her party's continued use of classified information, they've leaked information regarding the Russia issue. Right now, all indications are that was not validated, not real, but now they want to get the president in trouble over Russia again. This is what they do. This is what she's doing here, and I used the metaphor of decimation. The Romans used to do something called decimation to punish Roman legions which did not perform well. They would go out and kill every 10th man. So that's what she's doing here. She's virtually trying to end the career of people who have been devoted their life to the protection of the country, and they are giving advantage to our enemies. Simply put, that's what it is, and it shows how hideous she is. I'm sorry that she was wounded in combat, lost her legs. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with her using her political office for advantaging her political party.
So, Tony, I want to give our viewers the entire story here because this story wraps around Colonel Vindman. And now we know Colonel Vindman from the impeachment trials who was leaking information to a whistleblower. Right. And the reason she's holding up all of these military people from being promoted is she wanted Colonel Vindman promoted. All the while we know he was leaking information, he was doing things, he came out and retired this last week. Is this not a quid pro quo which they hung around the president's neck as impeachment?
Yeah, I didn't say that in the article, but you are correct. Your assessment is completely correct. And let me add something to your comment on this. One of the issues which people have not picked up on is she recently made a statement saying that she's not heard from any of these people on the list complaining about this. It's a lie. I know for a fact that people have contacted her office. This is going to probably become a legal issue this coming week, because there's evidence that there was to use the term bantered about widely in the case of this, there was collusion between Senator Duckworth's office and Vindman on this. She is indeed trying to push through for purposes of trying to help someone who lied, who did not perform well. He did not fulfill his duties as a uniformed officer. She's trying to help this man achieve promotion. And I don't think this is over yet regarding Vindman. I think his filing for retirement was a publicity stunt. And I think he's only trying to get the Democrats to call for his retention, because otherwise I don't think he would be selected for colonel.
You talked about the Russian information earlier that was leaked, the bounties on our servicemen's head, and she's still pushing this story. Now, Colin Powell has come out and even said there's not a story there. This is the media running with something that's not there. But you have one of our own senators who is still out there pushing this narrative that the president is dangerous and he was not doing the right thing with our troops out in the field. I mean, how twisted is a situation like this to have a senator doing this? Is there any repercussion for somebody who pushes a story that's just not true?
Well, there needs to be two things done to rectify this. First, she needs to be censured. There's some questions about what does it take to get that done when you have a sitting member of the Senate lying, flat out lying. So I think that's a question for Speaker McConnell's office, and I think it needs to be examined. Secondly, the sourcing on this. I know for a fact there's now an ongoing investigation of who leaked the information. Not surprising, it came from CIA. So there apparently are polygraphs being given. So there's a hint for those over at CIA. So if you're being called in for a polygraph, you may be on that list. So I think that needs to be something that people examine thoroughly, is who leaked, and to hold them accountable. So those are the two things that need to be done at this point.
So, Tony, in your article, you talked about the chain of command. You talked about the ramifications of holding up these military promotions to our readiness for the military and what that will do. Why don't you explain to us what is actually happening with these folks who their career is literally up in the air right now?
We have become a very sophisticated military that has a deep and sometimes complex process. These promotions are designed in such a way to provide new individuals who are qualified to take command, to take certain highly technical staff positions, who have to go out and be assigned to embassies overseas. And they have to have a certain rank. They have to be a certain rank. In this case, a lot of colonels, 06s, have to do that. That's the requirement. By her doing this, by Senator Duckworth doing, and by the way, she knows this. This is not unknown to her. This is known. By her putting the brakes on a process of simply allowing the Senate to confirm these individuals to the next rank that is required. Senate. Every time I was promoted, I had to go through Senate confirmation. It's required. By her stopping this, she now sends ripples of conflict, of chaos through the chain of command. There's whole other things that happen. There's now things that have to be reconsidered regarding budget, regarding who goes to assignments. In some cases, by her doing this, she'll probably prevent people from taking positions they should otherwise have. This is evil, and she knows this. These people did nothing wrong. They're national security professionals, and yet now they're being punished. They're being decimated. Their careers are being decimated because of her political ambitions.
Tony, we have a few minutes left. I want to quote you from your article because you said that Duckworth has abandoned her oath to the Constitution and is no longer able to hold high office due to her emotional and partisan attempt to decimate the national security of the United States by using the military to try to gain a political advantage. So my question to you is, do you think that she needs to resign? Is this time for her to step down?
Well, again, as I just mentioned, she knows what she's doing. This is not a junior senator from a state which has no military background, who has never served in the military. She has been in the military. She was, according to someone I spoke today, a major. And she understands from her own pain as a veteran who lost her legs what the sacrifice of members of the military are. That's what I find most unconscionable, is that she is a former member of the military. And yet, with all of this background, with all of this understanding of how the military operates and the importance of having the military function without regard to politics, she is actually doing the opposite. And let me say this, and let me be clear about this. This is all political. She's trying right now to get the attention of Joe Biden for purposes of him selecting her to be his vice presidential nomination. And this is dangerous on another front. The idea here that you will politicize positions within the military. She's sending a signal here is if you want to play, if you want to be promoted, you have to be a Democrat. That's dangerous. That's what they did in, I'm going to get in trouble for this, Nazi Germany. If you wanted to be promoted in the German army, it always helped to be a party member. That's how dangerous this is. That's the signal she's sending.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see exactly what you're saying. We've been talking about this. Tony Schaefer, president of the London Center for Policy Research, thank you so much for being on today. And please check out his article at AmericanGreatness.com. Wonderful, wonderful interview. Matt, it really is very interesting to hear from someone who has served. Talk about what this means, because we just talked to Nan Hayworth yesterday. She was telling us, it's very hard for Biden to find a running mate because so far, everyone they've put out has some terrible skeletons that come out of their closet. But here this person is actively doing this today, Matt, and you have people like Tony who are calling her out. Do you think that other people will stand up against this woman?
I don't know. On the Democrat side, I don't think so, as Tony said, and I think this lends credence to what you and I have been saying, Tudor. If you're a Democrat, it just doesn't matter. It's a resume enhancement. Democrats can get away with what they want because, they're going to tell you, well, it's for the greater good. We've got to do this. Carl Vindman has been excoriated by the Trump campaign. They've went after him, and now this is the quid pro quo. This is the retaliation. I'm a Democrat. I'm going to show you. I'm going to make sure you understand that you will not, you won't mess with us. That you're not going to stand in our way and you're not going to do any of the stuff that you're saying we're going to do. Otherwise, we'll just stop your career. It's a sad state we're in. But look, don't go anywhere. On the other side, Miranda Kahn. She's going to join us, and she's got a great interview prepared for you. Stick around. Tudor Dixon, Matlock, America's Voice Live. We'll be right back.
If you suffer from foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, even lower back pain, if just standing causes aches, soreness, and fatigue, the problem could be your feet. When your feet are out of alignment, your entire body is out of alignment and you're in pain. Now you can change all of that. Today, introducing Superthonics, the doctor-designed breakthrough that solves the problem in your feet and relieves the pain throughout your entire body. It begins with the cushioned BioLock heel cup that holds your heel and ankle in perfect alignment. Next, metatarsal and longitudinal arch supports distribute the pressure of your body weight evenly across the entire foot.
Plus, these customizable inserts, which correct the angle at which your foot hits the ground, relieving your pain with every step you take.
Imagine being able to dance, walk, work, play golf, or just spend an afternoon shopping without the aches, pains, stiffness, and poor balance that rob you of your active life.
As a flight attendant, I spend a lot of time on my feet. The moment I put the Superthonics in, I could
feel a huge difference. The pain in my knees went away, the pain in my feet went away. Not only am I wearing them for work, I am wearing them all the time.
Imagine finally getting relief from painful problems like bunions, shin splints, corns, calluses, plantar fasciitis, and even stress fractures. Doctor-prescribed orthotics can cost $600 to $800, but you won't pay anywhere near that for Superthonics when you call the number on your screen or go to Superthonics.com. For a limited time, you'll get the manufacturer's direct price of just $39.95. Call now, and we'll also include, at no extra cost, our soothing peppermint lotion to help invigorate your feet. You will also get our luxurious comfort slippers designed with durable memory foam. You receive it all. Superthonics are not available in any store. Call or go to Superthonics.com now.
At Leaf Filter, we're on a never-ending journey to end gutter cleaning forever. Whoa! Way too dangerous, Bill. Say goodbye to that ladder. Way too clogged, Melissa. Those black gutters are causing serious damage to your home. Look at these cracks in your foundation. Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system, will keep you safe and protect your home. Leaf Filter's stainless micromesh screen fits over your existing gutters and is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water. No more leaves or debris in your gutters for the life of your home. Schedule your free gutter inspection and estimate, just like Paul. With Leaf Filter's lifetime warranty, we guarantee you'll never have to clean those nasty gutters again. Everybody okay with that? I sure am. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Act now and save 15% off your purchase.
Well, welcome back to America's Voice Live alongside of Tudor Dixon. I am Matt Locke. It is Red Friday, as you can see, Tudor. We're remembering all of our veterans who are deployed. So if you see a veteran today, shake their hand, buy them lunch, do whatever is needed. But it is Friday, and it is Red Friday, so we do this every Friday on America's Voice News. I want to throw it to our very own America's Voice News' Miranda Khan. Take it over, Miranda.
Of course, and I'm wearing blue. I didn't get the memo. Next time. Thank you both so much. So one of the things that we're trying to do differently here at America's Voice News is to let your voice be heard. After all, we work for you. So whether or not you go on our website and join our community and post your comments or your questions there, or perhaps you're utilizing some of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Parlay, Cloud Hub, whatever it is, we want you to know that we're listening, we hear you, and we know job security is one of the biggest issues, if not the biggest issue, impacting you and your family. So here to kind of help us navigate through these uncertain times is labor and employment attorney Freddie Pereira. Freddie, thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be even better. We were supposed to have you on yesterday, but the president had a briefing. So, everything happens for a reason, right?
No problem. I'm happy to be here now. Thank you for having me on, Miranda.
Yes. So we have a lot of ground to cover. So let's see if we can do this in a short amount of time. I'm sure we'll have you back. Let's talk about the payment protection plan. So we had our first round. There's been reports out there saying that an estimated, $1 billion worth of fraud may have occurred. Whether or not that was deliberate or people just not filling out the application correctly, that remains unknown. So now we have this extension going on till August 8th. So what should small business owners do now?
Well, I guess you have two categories here. One, you have the category of small businesses that actually already applied for and got funded for the loan. This is around the time that these businesses should be contemplating the next step, how to get it through the end zone, how to actually get forgiveness. Part one is simply actually getting the funding. Almost as important, or perhaps more important, is actually getting the forgiveness portion of it applied. In those situations, they got to make sure that what they've spent the money on is going to actually be forgivable. For example, the lion's share of the money had to be spent on actual payroll. Initially, the law contemplated that only 25% of the total funds that you received could be applied to situations like paying your rent, paying a mortgage, paying interest, utilities. After the law was initially passed, there were changes made, and you could have applied now up to 40% on rent, mortgage, utilities, interest. Now, if you're in the other camp, folks, you have $130 billion, that's with a B, sitting right now with the SBA ready to be funded. If you haven't already applied for the loan and you are experiencing financial duress in your business, what are you waiting for? This money is there. It's been extended, so you need to take advantage of that.
So let me ask you, is this something, again, there's still question whether or not people were deliberately trying to fraud the government or they just made some mistakes, honest mistakes on the application. Has that been rectified now, or should someone get an experienced attorney to help them fill out this paperwork?
Well, it's a concern. We know the government is looking at it very closely. I fully expect that there were many instances, I'm sure, where someone tried to take advantage of the program. There's probably instances where folks just filled out the paperwork incorrectly. One thing you need to keep in mind, the SBA on average funded approximately 1,000 loans on an annual basis. In response to this program, the SBA did something absolutely incredible. At this point, they funded approximately 5 million loans. What that means is that they had to process a whole lot of information very, very quickly, and it would not be incredibly difficult for someone to, at least on the front end, try to get money that they probably weren't entitled to. What we do know is that the government is structuring how it's going about its investigation. For example, if the loan was under $2 million, the government is assuming that the business qualified for the financial exigency component of the program. That's one. We also saw that the government put out an entire comprehensive list of all businesses that have received this loan, and has also taken a measured and a structured approach. For example, if you received a loan that was $150,000 or over, the government fully disclosed the address of the business, the name of the business, and other information. If you're a small business that took out a loan under $150,000, while there's a line item for it, there's privacy with respect to the identity of the company. What I fully expect is, for the most part, the government's inquiry and focus is going to be on those situations where someone got a major loan.
All right. So moving on along, I want to talk about the increasing number of COVID cases. Many people are, fearful that they may not have a job to go back to. It's estimated as many as 40% of all jobs that were furloughed or may never come back because of COVID. So a lot of concern there over COVID. People are worried about going back to work. Will I get COVID? Is it a safe enough environment? So let's talk about Families First Coronavirus Response Act, also known as FFCRA. Can you break it down for us? What does this act do, and how can it protect us and employers?
The act is absolutely extraordinary. You have to keep in mind, for the first time in this nation's history, there is a law on the books requiring an employer to pay for an employee's leave if it's associated, in this case, with COVID-19. Many people are familiar with maternity leave, for example, and that has always been on an unpaid basis, according to the law. The Families First Coronavirus Response Act is actually broken down into two major parts from an employment standpoint. One, you have the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. And what that means is that if you're an employee out there and you're experiencing COVID-related symptoms and you have gone out to get a diagnosis, that period of time where you're seeking a diagnosis is actually compensable. It's payable 100% of your ordinary wages for that time period. If, for example, you are then required to quarantine for a 2-week period, the Emergency Pay Sick Leave Act says that you will be compensated for that time. It also applies in situations where you have to stay at home, for example, to take care of a loved one that has contracted the virus and is subject to quarantine. There's various conditions and various prongs where you can qualify. Keep in mind, however, that if you are taking care of somebody else and you have not personally contracted coronavirus, then your compensation will not be at 100% of the total amount. It's a lesser amount, but nonetheless, it's significant.
So that's good to know. So there are obviously a lot of business owners that want to open up shop, but of course they're concerned about the liability factor. Will they be sued? I personally know of some business owners who are facing that kind of litigation right now. What do you do if you're a business owner? You want your business to survive. You're trying to take all these safety measures, but you don't want to get sued by your employees.
Yeah, listen, it's a measured approach. In these types of situations, it's a balancing act. On one end, you don't want to be reckless. It could certainly subject you to serious liability. On the other hand, you don't want to be paralyzed to the point where your business is tanking and you're being so conservative with it that you actually are jeopardizing your business and the economic livelihood of your employees. Here's what I would say. Listen to the local officials and follow the orders. If you are sued, for example, for negligence, for bringing someone back into the workplace, and you're able to point to a county order, a state order, a federal order saying, listen, they didn't require us to shut down. I was actually following the rules. Or conversely, when they actually did require us to shut down, we did. That's one of the covers that you can use for purposes of the lawsuit. The other thing is you should take whatever measures you can within the workplace. Try to separate desks, maybe fluctuate where you have some people working from home to open up some additional space in the office. Take some effort so that in the event there is a lawsuit, you're able to say, listen, within the bounds of reasonableness, these are the measures that we took. And in that situation, a jury could very well find that it wasn't negligence, that you took the efforts that a reasonable person would take under the circumstances.
So some good news there. We've got an act out there that's going to help people who may have contracted COVID or taken care of someone with COVID. Some good news out there with the extension August 8th for small businesses to apply, for those loans. Got all choked up. I'm just so happy about it, Freddie. Good news. So basically, don't waste time. Freddie Pereira, I hope to have you back on. We still have a lot more to talk about. Stimulus checks next time. Freddie Pereira, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We now want to toss it back to Matt and Tudor.
Well, thank you, Miranda. And Tudor, we got coming up in the next hour. It's hard to believe we're starting into hour 3. But we're going to head back to New Hampshire. We've got folks on the ground out there. We know the Trump rally has been postponed. Mother Nature is not cooperating with an outdoor rally. But Tudor, I'll tell you what, this is 2020, so anything, and I mean anything, can happen in 2020. We've already seen it happen. Don't go anywhere. Tudor Dixon, Matlock, America's Voice Live. We'll be right back.
If you suffer from foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, even lower back pain, if just standing causes aches, soreness, and fatigue, the problem could be your feet. When your feet are out of alignment, your entire body is out of alignment and you're in pain. Now you can change all of that. Today, introducing Superthonics, the doctor-designed breakthrough that solves the problem in your feet and relieves the pain throughout your entire body. It begins with the cushioned BioLock heel cup that holds your heel and ankle in perfect alignment. Next, metatarsal and longitudinal arch supports distribute the pressure of your body weight evenly across the entire foot.
Plus, these customizable inserts, which correct the angle at which your foot hits the ground, relieving your pain with every step you take.
Imagine being able to dance, walk, work, play golf, or just spend an afternoon shopping without the aches, pains, stiffness, and poor balance that rob you of your active life.
As a flight attendant, I spend a lot of time on my feet. The moment I put the Superthonics in, I could feel a huge difference. The pain in my knees went away, the pain in my feet went away. Not only am I wearing them for work, I am wearing them all the time.
Imagine finally getting relief from painful problems like bunions, shin splints, corns, calluses, plantar fasciitis, and even stress fractures. Doctor-prescribed orthotics can cost $600 to $800, but you won't pay anywhere near that for Superthonics when you call the number on your screen or go to Superthonics.com. For a limited time, you'll get the manufacturer's direct price of just $39.95. Call now, and we'll also include, at no extra cost, our soothing peppermint lotion to help invigorate your feet. You will also get our luxurious comfort slippers designed with durable memory foam. You receive it all. Superthonics are not available in any store. Call or go to Superthonics.com now.
From roof to foundation, the damage to your home can be devastating, from clogged gutters, leaking roofs, rotting wood and fascia, and flooded basements. Protect your entire home with Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system. Once our ladders go up, you can put yours down forever.
One of the things that I like the most is that I don't have to get back on the ladder anymore.
Leaf Filter starts by cleaning, sealing, and realigning your gutters. We then install our micro mesh screen over your existing gutters, which is guaranteed to filter out everything except for water.
Trying other products is what made us finally go to Leaf Filter.
And Leaf Filter's lifetime transferable warranty makes it an extraordinary value.
Leaf Filter is going to make my home more valuable, especially when I go to sell it.
Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or go to getleaffilter.com for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Call or log on today and save 15%.
Welcome back to America's Voice Live. I'm Tudor Dixon alongside Matt Locke, and we actually have our own Ben Berkwam and Will Johnson out on the ground in New Hampshire, and they have some great interviews for us. So, Ben, take it away.
Hey, Matt and Tudor. We're identifying as being 6 feet apart right there. Hey, so we're out here again, the rally being postponed. I just wanted to ask the people that are on the ground out here if they could tell President Trump a message. Most of them are planning on coming back out here, but if they don't make it out here, what would your message be, or what is your message to President Trump?
You've been the greatest president we had.
Awesome, Chloe.
Can't wait to meet you, and you've been great at everything you've done, even through all the crap that they put you through.
Yeah, I hope in November 3, President Trump win 4 more years.
4 more years.
He's doing he's such a great president, and keep the good work.
I'm looking forward to see President Trump as a 5th president on Mount Rushmore.
That is awesome. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I wish President Trump 4 more years, and every time he come in New Hampshire, I'll be here waiting for him.
Awesome.
Thank you. I wait for President Trump come here 4 more years or 4 more terms.
Awesome.
I'd say keep up the good work. Stay strong during what's happening in the country right now, and we'll be here when you get here, Mr. President.
Awesome. Now, you just heard a great group of people here, and I'll tell you this much. Ben Bergkamp, myself, and the rest of America, we all feel the same way. We love President Trump. We love what he's doing for this nation, and we want President Trump to continue doing what you're doing, President Trump. Do not listen to the liberal media. Do not let them take you down, President Trump, because we are with you, behind you, 100%.
And one other thing, so what the left is trying to do is to demoralize the American people, and you feel that all over the country. There's a sense of despair, of uncertainty. Countries locked down, everybody's shut down. They're afraid. The fear, the pandemic of fear that we have being pushed through the mainstream media right now is all by design to lower the morale of the American people. It's up to the American people to fight through it, to stand up. So if you're out there, guys, keep your head up, keep standing strong. And President Trump, if you're watching this, we stand with you. The American people stand with you. 4 more years. God bless you.
God bless.
Thank you, Ben and Will. Great work out there. We have our own Dr. Gina in New Hampshire as well, so we want to send it down to her and see what's going on out there at the rally headquarters. Is that what we're still calling it now that there's no rally?
Why not, Tudor? Sure. We can call it whatever you want to call it. Bottom line is, whether the president's here, the president's not here, the love for him is just as sincere and just as deep. And I'm sure it'll be fun tonight to see everybody and get to talk to everybody. Because the fact of the matter is, the rally is still happening here in New Hampshire. It's just not happening tomorrow because apparently the weather has changed all of that for us. But, you know, David, we were here for the 2016 primary, New Hampshire primary, and got to do I don't know what year. Maybe it was maybe it was the one before that. I can't even remember. But the point was, my very first time to New Hampshire, and I remember being surprised by New Hampshire. It's such an unusual state, it really is, and by the fact that, you know, we were walking into the Capitol building, and the Capitol building. Now, this is one interesting thing. You know that I was married to a state senator from Missouri, right? And they made, I think, around $30,000, maybe $35,000 plus a per diem. Came out to maybe around $40,000 a year is about what you made, but you got like 5 months off. So don't ever, you know, like a teacher, you know, you don't make the most money, but you get about half the year off. It's not the worst thing in the world in a state that it doesn't cost a lot to live in. So I don't feel so sorry for that. But in New Hampshire, they made, like, I'm not kidding, like $5,000 a year. I mean, it was a stipend because you're supposed to be a citizen legislator, right? They did it right in New Hampshire. That's how it should be. They made nothing. I'm making up the number, but it was astonishingly low, the amount of money that a legislator made. And then I remember walking into the Capitol, and there was a sign on the outside of the Capitol that said, "Your gun is welcome here." Like, literally, you do not need a permit. You can walk in with a gun. You can be anyone. Walk in with a gun, and you can just wield it all around, and nobody cares. You don't have to hide it. You don't have to have a permit, nothing. It's an interesting state.
It is, and the economy here has been, you know, iffy off and on. They don't have a lot of manufacturing anymore up here. You know, a lot of the wire companies that used to be up here went away with NAFTA. They went to Mexico along with Pennsylvania and the telecom type operations, you know, for wire and stuff. So they've taken a big hit, but their economy since Trump is president has really surged back. They have high tech. They have biotech, high tech, a lot of data operations up here. And when we were in Manchester for the last two rallies, for the primary last year and for the rally before that for Trump, there's a crane on every corner in Manchester. And things were going really well.
Now, whatever happened to the whole, remember, New Hampshire was going to be the free state. Remember, because I remember when I was here, it was a big Ron Paul, big libertarian, and I remember that this one particular legislator that we knew somehow. I think my husband maybe knew him through ALEC or something, the American Legislative Exchange Council. Right. And I remember, showed us the Ron Paul headquarters, and it was like a speakeasy, but like with marijuana, which was very shocking to me at the time. Now I've lived in California, and nothing shocks me. Like, if I wasn't wafting marijuana, I thought it was like the world was ending in California. Right. But I remember at the time, I'd really never seen anything like that. I was dumbfounded.
Well, I think that there's been a lot of new money in New Hampshire. Their tourism industry.
It ended that kind of free state thing?
Yeah, well, I think it's changed the dynamic a little bit. And also, like, this concept that, you know, the hippies were all going to come here and create, you know, a libertarian type atmosphere. That's also changed. You know, I was surprised in the primary how poorly Liz Warren did. You know, and when Trump had 23,000 people at the Manchester SNHU Arena, she was 90 miles away and only got 300 people. And Biden got 27. So, you know, there's a lot of energy for Trump. I think because they see the results. It's in the pudding. A rising tide lifts all boats. The economy's back. It was back, and it's still coming back. You know, the Dow's at 26,000 again. NASDAQ's had an all-time high today. Yeah. So I think, you know, how could people deny that? And all these people who bought these ski lodges up here made billions in the Trump stock market.
So is that why Trump was coming here? Is that why he wanted to come here?
I think so. I think that he's solidifying his base. I think you can consider New Hampshire one of those states that's a swing state right now, right?
Well, and since he only lost by 4% and won it was closer to winning it than any Republican in recent history. Maybe that's why. All right, anyway, we are going to continue with this analysis from New Hampshire. But one of the interesting places to be in New Hampshire, certainly right now, is outside in this weather that has caused all of this change, caused the president's people to decide that it's not even safe enough for the president president himself to fly in on Air Force One. So we're going to take you outside to Heather Mullins, who is in the weather. Heather, what are things like out there?
So as you can see behind me right now, the fog has actually gone down. So if you look across, you see all the boats, all the houses. Earlier when I was speaking to you, Gina, you couldn't see any of that because that's how thick this fog was. So what is to be seen over the next 24 hours as far as the weather? We're going to find out, but Trump is not going to be here tomorrow. The rally is postponed, but I spoke to a few people here on the streets who are actually excited he's still coming. One woman said she was afraid that they tried to scare him away, and I had to reassure her. We've covered several Trump rallies, and I can assure you nobody is scaring him away from coming to New Hampshire. He is going to be coming here. The weather changes day to day, and one day he is going to be here and the sun is going to be shining and the streets are going to be filled with people. It's going to be like America's biggest tailgate party once again. I'm excited because you know what? These Trump rallies really do feel like the most unifying thing that I've experienced. You go there and there's people of all walks of life, all colors, all creed, whatever, and everyone's celebrating and everyone's kind to each other, and that is something we need more of right now in America, not less. So rest assured, residents of New Hampshire, Trump is coming here and we'll be here to provide you guys coverage. Back to you, Gina.
Oh, Heather, I love that. I love the way you put that. And I really think that only somebody from here could see that. And you know what I was thinking, David, as Heather was talking about, just she's such a patriot and she's from this area and she knows this area. And her family, actually, her last name Mullins, she actually is a direct descendant from someone who was on the Mayflower. My sons are also direct descendants. My children are direct descendants from someone on the Mayflower. So Heather and I were comparing notes on that.
Right.
And it does make you sort of a patriot when you realize what they went through that first winter and how many of them died, and you read that family history and when those are your relatives. But when you look at that and you contrast that, David, with what our country's been going through right now in terms of them pulling down, our monuments, our national monuments, and
Right.
Even some of our undisputed heroes, right? I mean, some of our heroes on the slavery issue
Don't know their history.
They don't know their history. But to be here in some place like New Hampshire, where so much of our founding days took place, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means a lot. It means a lot to me. I can't believe how far to the left these New England states have gone outside of New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
In New York, they're taking down the statue of Schuyler, who was a patriot, a Revolutionary War hero, outside of the Albany state capitol. Massachusetts is off the deep end, but we're like a spoiled, entitled culture. We have it so good. I was in the Soviet Union when I was 16, and there was no food on the shelves in the communist system. And then I'm walking through Costco and BJ's and all these, membership clubs a couple of months ago, and there wasn't any food on the shelves. This is a fragile society. And Reagan said we're only one generation away from losing that democracy. And we have to really, keep this together. And I think Trump is the only one sending that message out. Who else is sending it out? Cuomo isn't, de Blasio isn't, Black Lives Matter isn't. We have to stay strong and stay strong as a culture. And what I love about the Trump rallies is that, and what's not being told in the mainstream media, is that they're just business owners who are fed up, and they just want the government out of their lives. They want their 2A rights protected. They want the government out of their life. They want lower taxes. That's all they want, and they're great people.
Yeah, well, they've given us a republic, as I believe it was Sam Adams said, if we could keep it. And it's a constant challenge, as Reagan reminded us, for sure. All right, and so we are going to break, and we will be back with more of our coverage from the New Hampshire rally, which is going to happen at some point, just not tomorrow. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Just like you, I had problems sleeping. I tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. 15 years ago, I invented MyPillow. It took me 2 years to develop because I wanted to have everything you would ever want in a pillow. I made sure that you could adjust my patented fill so you could have the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of your sleep position. I also wanted a pillow that would last, so I made MyPillow machine washable and dryable. I back MyPillow with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. Not only that, I do all my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota.
I really like the fact that it was made in the USA. I think that USA products are a better quality product. I've tried a lot of other pillows, and nothing's worked like MyPillow.
I'm interrupting this commercial right now to give you deep discounts, not just on my pillows, but also my mattress toppers, sheets, and so much more. For example, you can get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99. Or My Pillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
I used to think that sheets were just sheets. I got the Giza Dream sheets. They are the most comfortable sheets I've ever had.
The Go Anywhere pillow is so easy to just roll up and take anywhere I want to go.
Go Anywhere pillow is really comfortable, so that's what I really like. It's nice and supportive and it's nice and small.
The My Pillow topper for the first time has enabled me to have a cool night's sleep. I'm able to go to bed and just get rest.
That's 3 inches of wonderful that's in the My Pillow mattress topper. It's just like a firm cloud.
My Pillow helps me get a good night's sleep so I can do my job in the morning.
Go to MyPillow.com to get deep discounts, not just on My Pillows, but so much more. For example, you get body pillows regularly $89.99, now only $29.99. Or My Pillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
For everyone like you making their business work online, there are people searching, headed in your direction. For every detail you adjust, there are potential customers digging deeper. For every photo you position, there are others watching and wondering. So since people are still looking for what you do online, GoDaddy is making it possible for you to create a website for free.
Nice technique with that knife there.
Start now at GoDaddy.com.
This is Kate.
Hey.
She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes 1 too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance. But she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
Well, welcome back to America's Voice Live. Alongside of Tudor Dixon, I am Matt Locke. We're going to bring in one of our favorite guests, Bruce Lavelle. He is the executive director for the National Coalition for President Trump. Bruce, welcome back to the program.
Yeah, thanks, Matt and Tudor. Thanks for having me back. Always a pleasure.
Well, you're a popular guy. I'm seeing you everywhere. But let's talk about what's going on with the police, especially in Minneapolis, but not just there. All over the country, we're starting to see officials say, you know what? I'm not behind defunding the police. Is this starting to backfire on the Democrat Party?
Yeah. You know, it's pretty sad. You know, Matt, I had the privilege of serving on police board right here in Atlanta for 3 years. Got to know a lot of sheriffs and police chiefs in my tenure. And I'm going to tell you, and this is something I want the viewers and everyone to really pay close attention to this. The number one call for most police that go to a home or apartment, whatever, is domestic, Matt and Tudor. Domestic calls. I know for a fact, I've been on the phone all week talking to a lot. I had some cops come by my office yesterday, and we had this conversation. With COVID and all the folks being shut in, the tensions, as the president brought out, common sense, they're shut in, their kids can't go to school, there's a lot of tension. But Matt and Tudor, the number one call for these great, brave men and women in these police uniforms are domestic, meaning that husbands beating on the wives, etc. I know for one case where this police interrupted a man strangling his wife. You know, this is real serious. And so when you talk about defunding, you know, it is very, very dangerous. You know, especially in underserved communities because. You know, there is a lot of high crime, unfortunately, but, you know, the average hardworking, you know, man and woman paying citizen in these underserved communities will tell you, no, do not take away the police. So it is really such a travesty that we have actual elected officials, Matt and Tudor, who take the oath, who put their hand on the Bible, they believe, and promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And when these anarchists and these folks come in and terrorize and blockade guys, which happened down here in Atlanta, right by the Wendy's, which I spent 3 hours the following morning on a Wendy's that was burnt to the ground, and talked to all the locals, folks that live, work, and play in that community. And for this to happen, and Mayor Lance Bottoms did not react on that. And thank God for Brian Kemp. He says, look, I'm going to deploy 1,000 National Guards. You know, there was pushback on him for wanting to put National Guard out there to protect our babies, guys. And I say to this question, what is a black child worth? What is one baby worth, white or black? What's it worth? I don't care if it's 10,000 troops. If it will save one child, one private citizen, black or white, whoever, what's it worth? And look what happened to her.
Bruce,
look, I don't know, I get emotional.
It's so true. No, because you know what? You're in Atlanta, so you were down there. Just last week, you had an 8-year-old, Sequoia Williamson. She was shot and killed. And then I think it was yesterday or the day before, another 3-year-old. But Bruce, I had to search for that story. I found it. I mean, it was hidden in the news. There was no major news media that covered it.
Yep.
Why? Why is the mayor watching babies? She came out and she said, we can't shoot babies. Why isn't she stopping it? She's doing nothing. She's allowing these people to put up their own barricades. They're having these zones where they won't let anybody in. And then they are shooting people that are going in. This is America. What is happening?
Well, I can tell you, I feel like I'm an expert. As you introduced me on your show, I am diversity, national diversity for Trump, national. And what that encompasses, guys, is that I hear this all the time. I go on all these networks from all over, CNN, all the ones, and it's the same narrative. These particular cities, unfortunately, that are governed by predominantly Democrat rule, I say the word rule, for the past 30, 40, 50, some 60 years, guys, where this leader goes in there and takes the special interest money, here we go, special interest, and when they go in there and they dare even talk across the aisle to a conservative person, myself, or any conservative for that matter, they literally get persecuted. So they're in their own voter suppression bubble within it. I'm not making excuses for it because it's bad. It's bad on both sides of the aisle. And this is where it does a tremendous travesty on our great republic when on both sides where they go in there and they take their votes on special interest, which Mayor Lance Bottom did, and went in there, and the whole entire liberal media, as you said, you had to dig under a barrel to find the story, which should have been on the front page of the AJC, but then they put the protesters on the front page of the AJC and said, oh, this is peaceful. Not one word about COVID. And this little black baby dies, perishes under anarchy, under an autonomous zone that we're going to do this ourselves, and this child perished because the mayor did not act and said, oh, no, we're not doing this. And so she's not the only one. It happens all across this great nation. And this is bad business. This will tear down what we built for black Americans as myself, who came here with $35. $35, that's all I had. But there's many more testimonies of people who look like me who came in this great city and other cities across the country to try to build a business and build a family. And to see this, it's sad. It's very emotional for me. It really is. Really.
So Bruce, President Trump and the federal government has reached out to these Democrat cities and said, look, we would like to help. We would like to come in and help you with the chaos and the anarchy. We've got the acting DHS Secretary Wolf saying, you know, if this is happening in your city, it's because you're letting it. What do citizens of these cities do to say, you know what, Democrat mayor, we need the help. Why aren't you listening, or why aren't you reaching out to get help from the president?
You know, when way back when it was candidate Trump, I remember so clearly. I was on a late night show, and candidate Trump was going to come to Flint, Michigan. You remember the poison waters, right? I literally had a knockdown, drag out conversation, debate, fight, scream, whatever you had with the mayor of Flint. He better not come down here. We don't know. I was like, are you kidding me? A man of his wealth and connectivity to come to my town? Hey, candidate Trump, we're having a water problem. Do you know anyone? Do you have any resources you could share with us? They literally shut this man out and intimidated their voters, and get the church groups there, the civic groups say, you better not dare talk to those people. You better not. And this is fact, guys, real talk here. And you're sitting here like your water's poison. There's many, many stories. Here we go. Voter suppression. How dare you talk to President Trump's people? How dare you talk to the conservatives? And it's like they hold their own base in captivity, guys. This is real stuff going on right now. And that's why the conservative voice, the folks that says, listen, this is what we have to offer about opportunity zones. This is what we have to offer about school choice. This is what we have about cutting regulations the president did. $1 billion right out the gate in 2017 for every one reg you cut 2. This is what we have in terms of this 94 crime bill that Joe Biden wrote, ladies and gentlemen, wrote. He wrote the bill and put it on Clinton's desk, called the Clinton crime bill. We have a way to come back and look at this, how it's been an imbalance, injustice to some of our black men that are locked away. President addressed this. We have great ideas. And there's no one in the land that can argue saying that doesn't sound good. And it gets a little discouraging, but there's a lot of optimism, guys, because remember, before COVID, 1972, the lowest black unemployment. I'm 56 years old. In my lifetime, we've never had that. Lowest Hispanic unemployment, lowest Asian American, fastest growing, watch this, guys, fastest growing black business in this Trump administration in any president's career, in tenure. North Carolina, Texas, Florida, Georgia. Folks right here, one that got looted, one of my friends' shop that got looted, where my good young conservative friend CJ raised money to put them back together. Mr. Lavelle, please don't say our name on TV. We support the president, but they'll throw a bomb in our window. And by the way, on that topic, silent majority is real, ladies and gentlemen. The polls, everyone's free. Oh, no. We've been through this in 2016. Black America's looking around. It's like, are we better off now than we were? That's not long ago. COVID's a little inconvenient right now. It's a little bump in the road. But watch this third quarter GDP. Watch that, the 30.6 million small business owners as myself. I'm one of the 30.6 million. Tudor, Matt, we control 42% of the GDP. This resurrecting of generational wealth of black America under this Trump administration, unlike you've never seen. The CEO of Goya at the White House, the Hispanic vote of 28+% that the president got in 2016, he's probably going to double it. You reach out and says, hey, you guys are building your wealth. You're building your retail commodities. You're taking care of your families. Be a part of this great America. And then what does he have to do? Explain, because the left attacked him because he compliments the president of the United States. But when Obama said it, different story. But let me tell you something. We're not going to fall, watch this, for the banana in the tailpipe. I know I'm old. So, I'm very optimistic, guys. I'm really optimistic about coming out of this COVID. Look at the markets. Watch the third quarter GDP. You heard it from me on Matt and Tudor's show. Watch the third quarter GDP. Watch.
Oh, Tudor, you lost your mind. There it is.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on with us today. We really appreciate it. I always love having you.
Tudor, I thought you lost your mic. I'm sorry. I thought you lost your mic. All of a sudden you weren't there, and we have that every now and again, but how passionate is that, Tudor?
I know exactly what he's saying. It's so important that we have people like him on who are able to reach those communities that are being so manipulated right now. We're going to get into the Goya story later, because what's happening to them is all because of one tweet that a certain Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, put out to her own community. You would think she would protect the Hispanic community, but she is out there fighting against them. A strong company. She is trying to take them down. We want to get into that later. Don't go away. We'll be right back here on America's Voice Live.
Brett Favre, legendary quarterback. Jerry Rice, legendary wide receiver.
You ready for your weekly meeting?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's do this.
Let's stack the deck.
When legends play, They wear Copperfit Advanced Back Pro. Copperfit's best-selling compression back support just got better with new double-band adjustable supports for customizable compression when you need it most.
Since I put this on, I feel so much better. The core is the most important thing. To know that I'm stabilized here. Whatever I'm doing, I can give it 100%.
4 built-in stabilizing supports designed to improve posture and help reduce lower back stress and strain.
You have back pain and it's affecting your everyday life. You do something.
If you can find something to help you get back out and be active like Copperfit, go for it.
Absolutely.
Do not give up.
A high-performance compression fabric infused with the powerful properties of copper, 360-degree flexible mobility, and lightweight, durable construction.
Nothing more painful than having back pains. If you're aching, if you feel like you can't work out anymore, you can. And that's with Copperfit.
Yeah. It's for all of us who still want to be active, still want to compete.
Way to go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, this really does feel good. It feels to me like the fountain of youth.
Copperfit's best-selling back support just got bigger, badder, and better. Or call 1-800-944-5851. Or on the web at advancedbackpro.com. Get yours now for only $19.99.
This does feel good.
That's what I've been saying.
You think it was fair?
It was fun.
Play for the love of the game.
Copperfit, live limitless.
America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world. If you care about this country, then you can help by sharing America's Voice with your friends and family. We're here to bring you the truth with no agendas. America is one of the greatest countries of all time. We need a great leader to keep us on track and safe. If you support this president, then help us by being a beacon of hope and standing up for this great nation. Join us as we fight to bring you the truth in a crazy world. Search America's Voice News on all apps, Roku, Pluto TV, and Dish Network Channel 219. Please help by downloading America's Voice News to your phone, on your smart TV. Search America's Voice on all your internet-connected devices. Then share the truth with your friends and family. America's Voice News, the real news network. Join the America's Voice revolution and consider yourself an American patriot.
Welcome back to America's Voice Live. I'm Tudor Dixon alongside Matt Locke, and we know that the rally was canceled today, but we do want to keep up on what's going on with the weather, and Jessica has that for us now. Jessica, it's all up to you.
Thank you, Matt and Tudor. And now for all the weather that would be affecting Portsmouth, New Hampshire, we're going to bring in meteorologist Meredith Garofalo. Meredith, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I'm so happy to be here. And the forecast for the area, it has been tricky over the last couple of days. We've been keeping an eye on things such as the storm threats, the flooding threats. As we know, Faye, further to the south, has something that's been watched very, very closely by our team here at Weather Nation. I do want to get to the graphics, though, and talk about what you can expect as we get into the evening tonight, because there's still going to be a chance of showers. Now, the worst of the rain going to be much further to the south. And one of the things you'll notice is the chance of showers and storms that is going to continue for us as we go overnight and into your Saturday morning. You'll notice I stopped the clock here at 8 o'clock tonight as we move forward and we get into just before midnight. We're not going to be seeing as much rain as other places across the region from Faye. But as we get into the early morning hours on your Saturday, most of the rain is expected to be light, but some of the showers could be heavy at times. We get a brief break Saturday morning around 7 a.m. And then you'll notice as we move forward into later in the afternoon, actually looking at some sunshine in the forecast, which is some good news for us. But there is that next front that's going to be moving through, and that could bring some more scattered showers and maybe isolated thunderstorms for us on Saturday. But the good news as far as it goes for the severe weather threat, this is mainly going to stay to our west. You'll notice that yellow shaded area for Saturday, but still We could see with any of those storms that do develop in the brown shaded area, damaging wind gusts going to be our biggest concern. And looking at the wider picture as we get into Saturday to give you an idea of how close some of these storms could be, most of them are going to start to develop and then move from the southwest to the northeast, looking like the worst of the showers and thunderstorms will be moving to the north. Although, as we know with weather, there still could be an isolated risk of those severe storms. Jess, even if they're further off to the west, still some storms can hold together and stay strong for a longer period of time. So that's something that needs to be monitored closely. And it's a good idea always to have a way to get warnings.
Thank you, Meredith, for those specifics. And as we know, President Trump's rally tomorrow in Portsmouth has been postponed. But could you tell us, from a meteorologist standpoint, what are the hazards that could take place with having such a large group or a large event outside in an airport hangar?
And there's a lot of different things that's going to factor into that, Jessica. In fact, you have to think about, first off, the people that are attending, the people that are going to be there, where the location is at. Like you mentioned, an airport hangar, there's going to be that connection to the outside. So you need to make sure that the weather is safe before, during the event, as well as after the event. Then there are people that are traveling in from all over the country. And so you're going to have to make sure that if they're going to an airport, whether it's local or in the region, are there going to be airport delays? We've had Faye, and so further down to the south, we've had that risk of flash flooding. For a lot of places, you're going to have possibly isolated severe weather that could impact travel, and especially for those that might be driving in. Are the highways going to have spots that are flooded? Are they not going to be able to get to the event on time? And so when you're looking at things as meteorologists, there's so many different scenarios we have to play out in our head. But as I always like to say, it's so much better to be safe than sorry, and also to put yourself in the shoes of the people that are going to be there. Am I going to feel safe at this event? And will I be able to leave safely from the event when I'm heading home?
Thank you, Meredith. And then also, just in general, for those who live there and those who have traveled to go to the rally before it was postponed, what is the storm doing in general in the Northeast?
I'd like to start you off and show you some video of what we have been seeing, because you can see this is in New Jersey and at Stone Harbor. This was earlier this morning, and a lot of streets were turned into rivers. And this is not from storm surge coming in. This is actually from the heavy rain that we had across the area. All along the Jersey shoreline, we did have flash flood warnings in place, but some of these were even for parts of Delaware. And that's still going to be a major concern, because you can see here with some of these reports from this morning, anywhere from 3 to almost up to 6 inches in some areas. And we look at the rain rates, or how much rain comes down in a shorter period of time. The higher that number it is, the more super soaked these storms are, the higher the risk is going to be for flash flooding. And so some of the things to know about Tropical Storm Faye: these tropical storm conditions are going to continue to move from the south to the north as we get into the afternoon and evening tonight. Flash flooding still one of my #1 concerns, as well as urban flooding locally for some areas, ponding of water on the roads, making dangerous driving conditions for the commute home, but also very dangerous surf and rip currents. Boaters need to be aware. This is not the best time to be out there. But as we move forward into day 2, I can't stress enough, when you have a tropical system, as it's moving to the north, that right front quadrant, that's where we have the biggest risk of isolated tornadoes. And so there is going to be that concern for Long Island, New York City, all the way down to Atlantic City, and even into parts of Connecticut, and even as far as out to the Cape. And so we could also see damaging wind gusts. But to give you an idea of where our flash flood watches remain in place through tonight, and some of these are going to go into your Saturday: Philadelphia, New York, Long Island, Hartford, just outside of Worcester, Massachusetts, into the western part of the state and into southern New York State, showing you the timing of this. The heavy rain continuing to push its way on through. Again, this storm moving from the south to the north. So if you're flying into LaGuardia, if you have a flight that's going to be connecting in Boston, you're going to have to wait to let these storms pass, because you're going to be seeing the potential for tropical storm force winds. There also is going to be that risk of flooding with some of the heavier downpours. And just to give you an idea of how much rain we're looking at between now and as we get into your Sunday, even that swath of the brighter reds, the brighter oranges, that's where we're most concerned about that flash flooding. And we'll be tracking everything for you on Weather Nation. You can always go to weathernationtv.com. That's where we'll have some of those local updates, but also that's where you can also get those details on our team coverage.
All right, thank you so much. That once again is meteorologist Meredith Garofalo with Weather Nation. And back to you, Matt and Tudor.
Thank you, Jessica. Wow, that flooding, it looked very severe in New Jersey. We actually want to head out to our own Heather Mullins. She is in New Hampshire. Heather, the weather there earlier was foggy. It seems like it's a little bit, well, actually, your fog looks like it's back. Tell us, compare this morning to now, what's the weather been like all day?
So as you can see behind me, you can actually see the bridge right now that you couldn't see when I filmed here earlier today. The fog comes and it goes. So far, there hasn't been a single drop of rain. But like I said, I just came from Florida. And when I got off the plane, it's literally as warm here and humid here as it was in Florida, which is not the norm for here in New England. We tend to have cooler summers with heat waves and stuff coming in from time to time. So you can definitely sense that there is something in the air that affected this rally.
Wow, it's unfortunate, but that's how Mother Nature works. We're actually going to go out to New Hampshire again, but we're going to go down to Dr. Gina and David Zier and check in with them. Dr. Gina, how is it going out there on the ground?
Well, it's great, and the spirits are high, and I think everybody's thinking that, if we know this president, we know that if he had to call off the rally this week, he's going to have something even better in store if he has to wait a week. It's gonna pent up inside of him, and it'll be even better, don't you think, David?
Well, Trump says that he has a lot of big announcements coming up, so he's probably going to surprise us, and he says they're close to a vaccine, so we'll see.
And he's a showman.
Yeah.
I think we should never forget that. And it's close to election time, so I think we can expect just a ton of surprises, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like he's the, like in the 8 seconds on the Bronco. He's like in the gate. He's like ready to come out. He can't wait to get back in action. And the press and everybody will do everything they can to prevent that, I think, with more extended lockdowns and everything else.
But I think the American people have had it with the lockdowns. I think they're done. I think people are ready to get back to life, back to living. I think that we're really starting to count the cost in terms of lives and depressions. And I keep hearing these horror stories from people who, have lost loved ones that they didn't get to say goodbye to.
Well, that's something. So you can't even, in New York, you can't visit your relative in the hospital.
No, this is everywhere. This is not just New York.
And you can't visit a relative in a nursing home and their last days. So it's
you can't visit a young relative in a hospital anywhere. It doesn't matter. If you have someone in the hospital, you can't visit them. And so, I mean, there's just a lot of situations like that.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of hypocritical policies like we were talking about before. In a lot of places in the country, the malls can't open, but Target and Kmart and all these big corporate stores are open.
Right.
So what's the difference between the air conditioning system there and in a mall? Dojos, karate studios, dance studios, gyms, they're shut down. So we're in phase 4 in New York, but it doesn't mean anything. It sounds fancy, but okay, so the aquariums can let 30% of the people in. But phase 4 to me should mean we're open for business.
Well, and what's so ridiculous, towns like Palm Beach that are, I'm sorry to say it again, but I'm just going to say it, Florida's open, but Broward County, Democrat, Palm Beach County, Democrat, Miami, Democrat, all shut down, right? Forcing masks, of course. And they are, re-shutting down everything, shutting down beaches, shutting down parks, when we know, David, that outside you're very much less likely to get COVID. And not only that vitamin D is an antiviral. This kind of just stupid, unintelligent behavior is about to drive the intelligent person crazy.
Well, I think it already has. And I interviewed Jessie Melton running in the 22nd District in Florida the other day. And she told me that the hospitals are not overwhelmed with COVID cases and that everybody checking in for elective surgeries and other people, they're being counted as COVID as well.
Yeah.
And that it's only 10 to 40%. I know I said it before, but 10 to 40% of the admissions to the hospitals are for COVID alone. We think that the average age is under 50 of the people getting it. In Oklahoma, they had a little bit of a spike, but 75% of the new cases were under 50 years old.
Yeah.
Nobody's dying in Oklahoma. You know, and Trump had the rally 4 weeks ago. There isn't a higher rate of death.
Right. Well, her opponent, Fran Flynn, is a good friend of mine, and I'll tell you what, she told me that, you know, the Patriots are completely outraged in that district right there. And I think there's some class action suits that are happening too, which is what you do, by the way. If you're frustrated in these areas where your city government is taking on your civil rights, that's what you do. You get a class action suit started. All right, we're going to go to break. We're going to be right back. You stay right where you are. More America's Voice News coming live to you from New Hampshire.
Everyone loves the benefits of compression socks, but they're just so hard to get on. Until now. Introducing the all-new Copperfit Energy Socks, redesigned for the first ever easy on, easy off fit to help reduce swelling, relieve tired, achy muscles, and provide energizing support. A new blend of stretch fabric for the most comfortable, easy on, easy off compression fit.
Being a SWAT commander, we train to win. The Copperfit Energy Socks, they didn't feel like other compression socks. They totally exceeded my expectations.
Our most powerful copper-infused fabric, woven into our easy on, easy off compression sock to help reduce swelling discomfort from prolonged sitting or standing.
I'm 38 and a half weeks pregnant. Copperfit Energy Socks worked beautifully.
Extra support around the arch and ankles for increased support and relief of muscle aches and pains.
I'm so excited about these socks. I'm so much more energized to go do things after a day of work. They just slip right on, yet they still have that same compression that you want.
A soft cushion footbed for all-day comfort.
I'm on my feet at least 9 to 10 hours a day. These were fantastic. A lot of compression socks are a little too thin, especially for what I do. With Copperfit, I could wear these every day.
Feel more energized. Feel more active. Just feel better.
They just hug your leg. It relieves all the pressure that you have. I have so much energy, I can go, hey, you want to dance?
The first ever easy on, easy off compression sock. The most comfortable compression sock you will ever wear. Get your Copperfit Energy Socks now online at GetEnergySocks.com for only $19.99 or call 1-800-978-1224. Order right now and we'll include a second pair of compression socks free.
I've never felt anything like it before.
No more pain, no more swelling, no more achy, tired feet.
I can never go back to regular compression socks again.
Don't settle for ordinary. Ask for the original by name, Copperfit Energy Socks.
America's Voice News brings you real news and real opinion in a real world. If you care about this country, then you can help by sharing America's Voice with your friends and family. We're here to bring you the truth with no agendas. America is one of the greatest countries of all time. We need a great leader to keep us on track and safe. If you support this president, then help us by being a beacon of hope and standing up for this great nation. Join us as we fight to bring you the truth in a crazy world. Search America's Voice News on all apps, Roku, Pluto TV, and Dish Network Channel 219. Please help by downloading America's Voice News to your phone, on your smart TV. Search America's Voice on all your internet-connected devices. Then share the truth with your friends and family. America's Voice News, the real news network. Join the America's Voice revolution and consider yourself an American patriot.
Welcome back to our live coverage from here in New Hampshire, where the weather is just playing all kinds of tricks on us. And apparently we're going to have some tropical storms. And so the president is going to delay his rally. But we will be here when he comes back. And we'll be here today anyway because we already are. And we're happy to be here with you. And you know what? It's so fun to be at these rallies. And the fun part of these rallies, yes, it's great when the president gets here, but the fun part is meeting the people and hearing their take, because state to state, David, I know you've noticed this too, everybody has their own reasons for supporting this president, and it's really widely varied from state to state.
I've never seen one person misbehave at a Trump rally that was a Trump supporter.
No.
The only bad actions I've seen is from the other side.
That's a great point,
and they won't tell you that. We've never had a problem. I've never seen anybody cursing at anybody, even when Antifa was in their face, right? I've never seen anybody,
People stay pretty calm.
So, these people bring their children. They're leaving their businesses. It costs them thousands of dollars to come here, right? They leave their businesses behind. And so I think
about 20%,
special.
forgive me, about 20% of the people that show up at Trump rallies, I always think it's worth noting, are Democrats.
Right, in Mississippi.
What do you do with that?
For Mississippi, I think they estimated 14% of the attendees were Democrats. New Jersey, there were 178,000 people RSVP'd online for tickets. 40,000 showed up, and I think 25% of them were Democrats.
And if you're Joe Biden, no wonder you want mail-in ballots, so you can do ballot harvesting after the fact because you know there's no way you're winning.
So I believe that Trump is going to start closing the gap very quickly here. You know, Biden said yesterday that he wants to get rid of shareholder capitalism, whatever the heck that means. And then he said that he wants to raise the corporate rate from 21 to 28%. And we know what the tax cuts did for the economy under Trump. So,
yeah. I love how the super rich always want to donate your and my tax dollars.
Sure.
Yeah, I love that. Anyway, we're going to go back outside to Heather Mullins. She is an official New Hampshirean. How do you say that? New Hampshire person? New Hampshire original?
You know
I guess
I don't know. Heather, how do you say it?
I think it's Granite Stater.
New Hampshireite.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah, so
anyway,
it's basically
she's
a
one
Granite
of those.
Stater
Heather,
is what
what's
we
going
would call
on
it.
out there? Okay.
So really, the fog comes and goes, as you've seen. 1 minute the bridge is there, the next minute it's not. But you know what else comes is Donald Trump, and he is going to come here to New Hampshire. I personally am really happy about it because, you know what, like I mentioned earlier today, I think we are going through one of the most divisive times in the country right now. And the one thing that is so great about these rallies is it really does bring people together. So I want to call out anybody watching this that knows somebody who's maybe on the fence about going to a rally or is on the fence about President Trump to actually go to these rallies, meet the people that are there. You don't know what you don't know. And if the only thing you've ever seen are news articles from the New York Times or CNN describing what goes on at these rallies, then you're living a very sheltered life. You need to actually go see them for yourself. And that's one reason I love covering these rallies. And I'm really excited to continue to work with you, Gina, and David, and everybody else to show people what really happens. I mean, even though the rally was canceled here today, there are still so many excited people. We spoke to one woman who said she has the biggest Trump sign on her roof right now because she's right where the rally was set to take place. So, you know, the patriotism is here, the love for our president is here, and I really encourage everyone else to come to a Trump rally if it's coming near you.
Well, and now, Heather, they have two chances because if they didn't make it out this time, they're going to have another chance in a week or two as soon as we know those dates. Of course, we at America's Voice News will be the first to let you know what those dates are, and we, of course, will be back here on the ground to cover that as well. Heather, thank you so much for braving the fog out there and in your home state here. And David, I want to give you a chance. Final thoughts here.
Well, I believe that the economy is on the mend. The Dow's at 26,000, NASDAQ's at an all-time high. The S&P is almost back to where it was. But, you know, we have to reopen the economy. United Airlines laying off half their staff. There's bankruptcies, Brook Brothers, Sur La Table, Neiman Marcus, JCPenney. We have to get back to business here. But I think there's a lot of momentum for Trump, and it's going to continue.
Absolutely. All right, and tonight, let's see, we're going to join live from Studio 6B. Right. Are you going to be with me there, or is that just me?
I will be here if you want.
All right, awesome. I just made an executive decision. I don't think that was my decision to make, but hopefully Damon and team will be okay with that. Anyway, so you're going to want to join us tonight on Live from Studio 6B. You won't want to miss. That is one of the funniest shows in all of television. So don't miss it tonight. Live from Studio 6B. David and I will be there to join Damon and his whole team, and we'll have the Harry Cam because we've got Harry here on site. And so don't forget to join us there. And I'm going to throw it back to you, Tudor and Matt in the studio. And thanks for letting us join you today.
There you have it, Tudor. I mean, there you go. Here we are. We're in the final segment. We are on the ground in New Hampshire, and Mother Nature had other plans today, and we'll figure out what the Trump campaign's going to want to do. But, you know, you roll with the punches, and away you go. But I want to talk about something here real quick. We've got about a half of a segment left. Goya Foods. Now, if you'll remember, Tudor, Mike Lindell spoke at the White House, and the left couldn't wait to tear him down. It didn't matter the story. It didn't matter the background. It didn't matter that Mike Lindell was a recovering addict, that he had turned his life around, that he employs Americans, that he makes his product here. He just spoke at a President Trump briefing. Well, now we have the CEO of Goya Foods speaking, and I think we have, do we have the audio here that we can put up to hear what the gentleman said?
We're all truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like President Trump, who is a builder. And that's what my grandfather did. He came to this country to build, to grow, to prosper.
Tudor, call out the liberal police. How dare that CEO say anything nice about the president at all? We must boycott Goya Foods. And there's AOC right on command, Tudor. Oh, look, it's the sound of me Googling how to make you own adobo? What's adobo? Do you know what adobo is?
Yes. It's like, I don't know why this is making me laugh. Yeah, so essentially, she's saying that this is making her want to make her own adobo sauce, and because she typically buys it from Goya, but now she's essentially calling on people to boycott Goya. No longer, and then somebody puts a recipe in and she's like, oh, you should have people like these. Look, you call and immediately someone answers, so I have the recipe right here. I don't have to patron this horrible Hispanic business anymore. What world do we live in when you have this congresswoman who is supposed to be pro-America, pro-Hispanic? You would think that she would be saying this is a fantastic thing that this man came to the White House and spoke, but she trashes his business knowing that she has a huge following. She trashes his business and then tells people not to shop there, not to buy their products. Their products are in Walmart, they're in all kinds of stores. I'm telling you this because I think everybody should go buy their products, because they are now facing this cancel culture that we keep hearing from a congresswoman. It's unheard of. This is a woman that hates America and hates jobs. She proves it over and over again. She proved it with Amazon, and now she's proving it with Goya Foods. Why is this woman in Congress? Why do people keep voting for her? She clearly hates Americans. She hates Hispanic Americans now. It's unheard of. It's shocking, Matt.
Well, you could call it racist, but I'm going to tell you the crazy thing about all of these liberal boycotts is they never work, because the people who have the money in this country are conservative. Not the liberals living in the basement of Grammy and Grampy or mom and dad. They don't go out and buy things. Conservatives do. I don't know what it was. Do you remember when, gosh dog, it was one of the Castro brothers, Joaquin, or the one that was running for president. He had a list of 45 companies in Houston that backed President Trump. And one of those businesses was a barbecue joint in somewhere around Houston. And when he said you should boycott them, the business went up tenfold. The left are the perfect, look at gun sales, Tudor. Look at what's going on with the BLM and the Democrats and, all of this chaos and rioting and protesting. It has pushed people to buy firearms at record numbers. And I'm going to tell you, only thing that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is Hispanic, by the way, the only thing she did with her cancel culture is to bring more business to Goya Foods. And you know what I think is amazing, Tudor? The CEO of Goya Foods said, you know what? I don't care what you say. Thank you.
Well, of course. That's exactly what Ford said. That's what more of these companies need to say. We're done with cancel culture. People have signed off on cancel culture. We've seen what it's done. This has been around for, we've been doing this for a couple of years now. People are actually seeing that it's destroying lives. And now you have big CEOs of corporations saying, you know what, I'm not buying into this because I saw what happened when other people bought into it, and it just killed business across the United States. It's not American. This is not American. To cancel large companies that service people across the nation, no way, Matt. I think people are done with it.
They are. You saw Amazon in New York. It didn't work with Ocasio-Cortez there. She ran them out of town, but then they did something else and got more jobs elsewhere. She's not very good. She's not very intelligent, and, that's who they're voting for in New York. But that's it for today. Have a great weekend. America's Voice Live, Tudor Dixon, Matt Locke. We'll see you on Monday.
Stay tuned to get a free pan from Granite Stone. Stuck on eggs, burnt on batter. You can scrub and scrape, but you can't escape the nightmare of your sticky pans. Introducing the Granite Stone Pan, the all-new durable non-stick pan. No butter or oil needed. Watch, we melted down these sticky candies in Granite Stone, and it just doesn't stick. We cooked a half a dozen eggs, bacon, cheese, and tomato breakfast with no butter or oil, and it just doesn't stick. Look, caramels, chocolate, and cheese. Unreal for any other pan, but not for